Great privilege and honor to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed speaker, Professor Dr. Mohd Atique, Professor of Head Department of Computer Science Engineering and Director UGC Madan Mohan Malviya Training Center, Amravati University, Amravati. Professor Atique is a distinguished academician, researcher, and administrator with more than 34 years of teaching experience and over 12 years as a professor. His remarkable contribution to the field of artificial intelligence, soft computing, and medical image processing have earned his widespread recognition in academia and research. His academic journey is marked by numerous achievements, including 68 research publications, 48 Scopus Index paper, 3 grant patents, 7 published patents, 7 copyrights, and 2 authored books. He has successfully guided several PhD scholars, delivered over 106 expert lectures, chaired numerous national and international conferences, uh, and has played a pivotal role in curriculum development, accreditation, and academic leadership. Professor Atik's unwavering commitment to excellence in teaching, research, innovation, and mentorship continues to inspire students, researchers, and educators across the country. His vision and leadership have significantly contributed to the advancement of the higher education and research. On the behalf of UGC MMTC, Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Marathawada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, I extend our sincere gratitude to Professor Atik for sharing his valuable knowledge and experience. Thank you, sir, and welcoming, sir, for that.
Thank you, sir. For me, you are roll number 16. Okay, but I would love to know your name, by the way.
My name is Sumit. I am currently assistant professor in Gujarat National University, Silvassa campus.
Okay. And your subject area?
Subject area is, sir, civil, sir, CPC, Civil Procedure Code and Contract, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for a very detailed introduction and very good afternoon to one and all present in this particular meeting. Right. So as far as this session is concerned, I will be with you for approximately 3 hours. That is from 3 p.m. sharp to, we will have this session up to probably 6 p.m. Right?
Yes, sir.
So it is a bit difficult and challenging to digest one single resource person for such a long duration. But I promise you that I will not disappoint you. Right? So with this note, we'll be discussing one important aspect of your teaching journey, because if I'm not wrong, you are undergoing your faculty induction program. So you are all young teachers. Okay. So as far as the teaching is concerned, okay, teaching, learning, and maybe assessment and research. Okay, we'll touch upon all these aspects, but we will have some sort of, you can say, technology integration into all this, right? So how we can make our teaching, learning, evaluation, and research more effective and more relevant while using ICT tool in general, or you can say AI tool in particular. Right? That is what is there on the agenda. So in the first session, we will have a detailed discussion. I don't know how many of you are from computer science. Okay, but any idea about how many participants are from computer science? At least I am interested in number. That is out of 22% in this meeting, 23% in this meeting. How many are from computer science? So I presume that none of you are from computer science. Okay, but I don't know. If let's say if you are not comfortable to interact with your audio, okay, I request all of you to be active on the chat. Okay, so that I can get a feel that you are there. Okay, but having said this, okay, all of you agree that as far as today's scenario is concerned, okay, what has happened, particularly during last few years, okay, the AI is everywhere. Okay, it is said that AI is dominating almost all the fields. Okay, so education sector is no exception in that regard. Right, all of you agree with me? Okay, definitely you may have some disagreement on some aspects of AI. Okay, wherein I do agree with you, that is, we need to curtail this technology, we need to, you can say, regulate this technology. Okay, and we have to have some uh, regulating guidelines, you know, so that it should not kill our students' creativity and innovative capabilities, right? Or and I personally feel that all of you are comfortable in English, or whether I should use a bilingual kind of a deliberation.
Sir,
Just tell me.
it's okay, sir. If you want to continue in English or bilingual, we will okay with that.
Okay, no, no, you just tell me, because we are talking about technology. But if you feel like interaction, because we have adopted in NEP 2020 three language formula, right? You must be well acquainted with that, right? So there is nothing wrong in speaking in Hindi, or I don't know how many of you are from Maharashtra, but Hindi is a national language, so either English or Hindi, right? So that is how we will discuss all these aspects. And as I have told you, that is, I presume that you don't have any computing background, right? So we will start from scratch. What I'm trying to emphasize is we will start from scratch, and then gradually we'll move to various aspects of this technology, that is AI, or the artificial intelligence, right? Just allow me to share my slides. I hope I am loud and clear and you can very well hear me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, right, right. So this is what is there on the agenda as far as this session is concerned. Okay, and as I have told you, that is in the first part, that is first probably 90 minutes. Okay, we'll just try to build some theoretical foundation. That is what this technology is all about, how this technology has evolved, okay, and how it has started, and where we are as on date. Okay, that is what we are going to understand in greater detail. And in the second session, we will have some hands-on on some of these tools. It's not possible to cover all, but we will definitely consider a few tools, okay, wherein we will see that is how to use these tools for teaching, learning, assessment, and particularly research, right? Having said this, this is what is there on the agenda. That is, we will have detailed discussion on Gen AI tools and a RAG kind of a model for teaching and research. Okay. So there are two components. One is the teaching and the second is research. Okay. So before directly jumping into what is AI, okay, we need to understand what is human intelligence. Okay, we need to understand what is human intelligence. So here I would love to interact with you. That is, what is your perception about human intelligence? आपको क्या लगता है कि भाई human intelligence क्या है? क्या Almighty ने हमें एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग कौन सी ऐसी कैपेबिलिटीज दी हैं जो हमें बाकी यू कैन से लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म से डिफरेंट बनाती है, तो जिसे हम इंटेलिजेंस कहते हैं, तो ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस जिसे कहा जाता है. So what do you feel? What is your take on human intelligence? What are the attributes, okay, which makes us different from all other, you can say, living organism on the earth? Anybody would like to comment on this? Definitely. See, the idea is not to check or test your knowledge, is to simply involve you in the discussion. Okay, that is the only okay, so that the session would be more engaging and interactive. Okay, तो आपका क्या perception है, क्या लगता है आपको human intelligence, what are the peculiar characteristics that makes us intelligence, right, or intelligent in general? Anybody would like to comment? Let's say if you are not comfortable, again, you can put your aspects in the chat box. Okay. So what do you feel? Anyway, if there are no responses, I will change my strategy. Okay. It will be a one-way flow. All right. So there are certain peculiar characteristics associated with human being. Okay. And what are all those characteristics which make us? Yes, sir. Ramdas. Ji.
Sir, give me now.
Sir, please mute yourself.
बरं सर बरं
Dr. Ramdas, Indu. Yeah, thank you. All right. So we were talking about human intelligence. Okay, human intelligence is basically there are few attributes which makes us little bit different. Okay, what are all those attributes? The attributes are like, say, the ability to learn. Okay, we are all lifelong learner. Okay, you or I can be trained in a particular domain. So the learning capabilities is one of the important attribute. Then whenever you take some or the other decision, okay, you can very well reason it out. So reasoning capabilities, that is how we have arrived at a particular decision. Okay, that is again the important attribute associated with human intelligence. And last but not the least is the whenever you have been trained in a particular domain, you may apply that knowledge to altogether new or challenging situation. I'll give you one small analogy. Let's say whenever you try to learn how to drive a car, okay, most of the time your driving school people normally take you to either on highways or on playground. Okay, but you will never face that kind of a scenario, okay, all the time. And let's say all of a sudden what has happened due to some emergency, okay, whatever knowledge you have acquired now, you are supposed to drive in a downtown kind of a situation wherein you are facing huge traffic. So what do you do in that case? Whether you call your trainer or you take decision on your own, right? So most of us, okay, we take decision on our own. Okay, so what do? We apply the knowledge, whatever we have acquired during training or learning to that new or challenging situation, right? So that is again another important aspects of human intelligence. Okay, let us see, that is, let's say if we are in a position to incorporate these three attributes, three or four attributes into a machine, we can very well convert that machine from a dumb machine to a artificially intelligent machine. Okay, so the simplest definition of AI is it is nothing but the study of mechanism that think and act like human. So thinking capabilities is the, you can say, the uh, utmost important characteristics of this AI, and then acting upon, okay, acting upon just like a human being, okay, we take decision. So acting upon or deciding on certain thing or predicting or classifying certain things, okay, all those things makes it, you can say, the AI. Okay, or to put it in very simple word, it is simply any technique that enables computer to mimic human behavior. So mimic human behavior covers all the aspects of, you can say, the AI, right? So this is a very raw or vague definition of AI, okay, which probably everyone can understand without any technical background or anything else, right? So what are all those characteristics which makes a dumb system to an intelligent system? These are the four peculiar characteristics. The very first one is the intelligence itself, okay, wherein we have talked about all the dimension of artificial intelligence earlier. Then system must perform, meaning thereby system must perform some meaningful operation. Okay, just like we as a human being, we are capable of performing some meaningful operation. Second important aspect is interpreting information. Okay, analyzing, interpretation capabilities. Then comprehension. This is again very important. That is, let's say if you give the relationship between X and Y and Z, so you can very well infer the relationship between X and Z, right? So drawing inference is, okay, based on the knowledge, okay, that is the comprehension capabilities. And then let's say once a system has been trained in a particular domain, it is capable of applying that knowledge, whatever it has acquired during training or learning, into altogether new conditions, right? So these are the four important characteristics which makes, you can say, a system as an intelligent system, right? So having said this, how this technology has evolved. Now, if you look at the historical perspective, okay, this technology is not at all new. But what has happened during last, particularly 2 decades, okay, we are having lot of, you can say, the hardware available, high-speed hardware available, and that has made a development of hundreds of applications based on this technology. Earlier, there were limitations in terms of computing power of computers. Okay, that's why there were limited applications of this particular technology. But what has happened, particularly in last 10 years, okay, last decade, from 2016 onwards to till date, okay, we are having state of the hardware available, okay, that too locally. Okay, I very well remember when we started our journey. Those days, AS400 and those machines, okay, those were only available in US or some developed nation, right? Let's say if you want to carry out some experimentation, you need to visit that country. But those days are gone nowadays, right? Now we are having a technology which is a cloud-based kind of infrastructure. So wherein you need not have to leave your place. The only thing you require is the internet connectivity, and then, okay, pay as per your use. Okay. So what I was trying to emphasize is this technology is not at all new. And if you look at the historical perspective of this technology, this term, that is AI, it was very first time tossed by John McCarthy way back in 1956. Now you can very well compute 1956 to today we are in 2026. Okay. So, and what was the event? Okay, this fellow, that is John McCarthy, along with few of his colleagues, okay, he was attending an international conference, and the event was the AI workshop. And that AI workshop took place in Dartmouth, okay, United Kingdom, okay, wherein this fellow has come up with this fantastic idea of AI and so on. So what I am trying to emphasize here is this technology is not at all new. Okay, then what has happened? Uh, we started in 1956. Okay, as far as this technology is concerned. Okay, and then initial systems were referred to as what they call it as the traditional AI systems or classical AI systems. है ना? तो इसकी बहुत यानी लिमिटेड एप्लीकेशन हुआ करती थी. तो हम शुरू करेंगे ट्रेडिशनल एआई से, एंड राइट नाउ वी आर इन द एरा ऑफ जनरेटिव एआई. Okay, 2026 is the era of Gen AI. Okay, in short, it is referred to as Gen AI tools, right? So we are into an era of generative AI. Okay, so what are all traditional AI systems? That is what we are going to look at in little bit detail, and we will definitely have a you can say cursory look at all other aspects of this technology, that is AI, like say machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. So the early AI systems were called as traditional AI. Okay, and what was there in traditional AI? It basically gives the computer ability to do tasks that traditionally only humans have been able to. Okay, that is particularly human being. Okay, those, let's say you want to diagnose a disease. Okay, so diagnosis of disease is the job of a medical practitioner. Okay, or let's say you want to play chess. So playing chess is again associated with human activity. So, but these things were actually developed in the early era of AI evolution. Okay, And what was the development strategy for this system? The strategy was pretty simple. That is, simply ask the human expert. Let's say you want to build a medical diagnosis system. So simply contact the human expert working in that domain, okay, and ask him or her how do they do it, okay, and simply try to code those things in the form of if there is rules. Okay, and definitely you need to explicitly program by using some high level language. The popular AI languages those days were Lisp or Plug, okay, which were having some essential characteristics for dealing with those kind of scenario. Okay, so the idea was to explicitly program. यानी आपने क्या किया कि भाई ह्यूमन एक्सपर्ट से कांटेक्ट किया कि भाई आप मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस एक पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट आपके पास आता है तो आप कैसे डील करते हो, वो आपको बताएगा कि भाई आई विल आस्क हिम और हर एन नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन एंड बेस्ड ऑन हिज और हर रिस्पॉन्सेस, okay, I'll conclude something that the person is suffering from some XYZ disease. Okay, so the idea was to contact in person the human expert, and that's why these systems were also called as the expert systems, and these systems were rule based. Okay, that is, for everything you have to have some or the other rule. Okay, some or the other rule. Okay, the best example is playing chess. Okay, in case of chess, what you can do, you can play against a computer, है ना, और जैसा आप एक मूव करोगे तो what it will do, it will analyze all possible moves and then it will take one particular move. Okay, so it was challenging to, initially the systems were little bit आसान थे, लेकिन there were issues. Another example is the homeopathy expert, as I have told you. Then the classical example of this traditional AI is when these systems were used in electronic gadgets, like say washing machine, or maybe microwave oven, or maybe the air conditioner and so on. Okay, what was the idea in those small gadget kind of a thing, wherein you can devise a set of rules. Let's say you are dealing, in case of washing machine, you are dealing with 3 parameters. Okay, that is depending upon the type of clothes. Okay, you will decide certain things, that is how much detergent is to be mixed, and how much hot and cold water is to be mixed, and what kind of washing mechanism one has to apply. Okay, this is how we wash clothes. Okay, you are washing it on with your own hand, है ना, तो हम यही करते हैं कि भाई कपड़ों की टाइप देखेंगे, फिर अप्रोक्सीमेटली आप अंदाज से उसमें डिटर्जेंट मिक्स करेंगे, then you will apply, if it is jeans, okay, you will apply some hard washing mechanism, okay, or if it is soft clothes, okay, you will apply some gentle washing mechanism and so on. तो अब यहाँ पे आपके पास कितने 3 पैरामीटर्स हैं, तो आपने क्या किया, यू हैव डिवाइज्ड अराउंड 27 ऑड रूल्स, और इस 27 रूल को आपने क्या किया, एक छोटे से माइक्रो कंट्रोलर में एम्बेड कर दिया. ओके, और वो माइक्रो कंट्रोलर को आपने वॉशिंग मशीन में इंस्टॉल कर दिया. सो व्हेनेवर यू स्विच ऑन योर वॉशिंग मशीन, that microcontroller will take control of all the components installed in that washing machine, and it will behave as if a human being is washing clothes with his or her own hands, right? So the idea was to automate some small jobs, right? The traditional AI systems. But there were some limitations with regard to these traditional AI systems. What were all those limitations? The limitations or the issues with regard to traditional or classical AI are many, basically. Okay, some of the things I have jotted down here. They were time intensive. Let's say if you are dealing with a simple problem like washing clothes, okay, then handling 27 rules is not a great job. Okay, you can do it quite easily. But let's say if you are dealing with a very complex problem, like say medical diagnosis, so in that case, definitely 30 or 40 rules are not sufficient to deal or diagnose, okay, properly. Okay, so because there are hundreds of disease, okay, and there are hundreds of parameters, hundreds of you can say the parameters, okay, which you are recording of the patient. Okay, that is what we call it as symptoms. Okay, So if the problem is complex, okay, it may lead to a very large rule base, and searching all the rules, okay, it is definitely time consuming. So that's why these early systems or AI, traditional AI systems, we are having time intensive as the, you can say, one of the drawback. Then it doesn't generalize to new situation. Say, for example, you have devised it for some homeopathy diagnostic system, something like that. Okay, and you have fed in some symptoms, and accordingly, certain diseases are there. But let's say if you are facing a COVID-19 kind of a scenario, and then you fed the symptoms to the machine. So what it will do, it will come out with a answer. Sorry, it is beyond the scope of my rule base. I am unable to diagnose. Right. So it doesn't generalize to altogether new situation. That was the another bottleneck associated with these traditional AI systems. फिर जैसे कि मैंने आपसे कहा कि भाई ये जो सिस्टम हम बिल्ड करते थे, we used to interact with the human expert. So there is a paradox associated with that phenomena, is what they call it as the Polanyi's paradox. You know, what is it? It is basically we human being know more than we tell. Okay, that is human tendency. Okay, and that is what Polanyi's paradox is all about. So it is bit difficult. है ना, आपका आप किस पे रिलाई कर रहे हो? ह्यूमन एक्सपर्ट पे. पता चला एक्सपर्ट ने आपको वो चीज बताई नहीं. मेनी टाइम्स वी आर रिलक्टेंट to disclose, है ना, that is our, you can say, the trade secret. Okay, so general things which is known to the everyone, okay, normally we disclose, but there are many things, and that's why we claim that that doctor is really intelligent, okay, but he speak very less, right? So we know more than we tell, okay, and that makes it bit difficult to develop these kind of a system, because if let's say I am hiding, I am the expert, I am the domain expert, and I am hiding on certain fronts. So definitely the system which will be developed, it will have certain limitations. Then we cannot write down rules for all possible situations. Why I'm saying so? See, if there are hundreds of parameters you are dealing with, then if you look at the permutation and combination, okay, it will be in thousands. Okay, so it is simply impossible to, you can say, write down rules for all possible permutation and combination or situations in general. Okay, so this may lead to what they call it as the combinatorial explosion, particularly while dealing with complex problem. So these many limitations, okay, were associated with traditional AI, and that's why these systems were not very popular. Okay, and having very limited application areas. Okay. Then what has happened? We moved to in the era of what they call it as the machine learning. है ना? और यहाँ देखिए हम कोशिश यही करेंगे, आप अलग अलग डिसिप्लिन से हैं तो आई विल ट्राई माय लेवल बेस्ट टू यूज मिनिमम टेक्निकल जार्गन्स, है ना. हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि भाई ये टेक्नोलॉजी समझना, ठीक है, और ये कैसे काम करती है ये समझना, और बहुत सारे जो टूल्स हैं जो ये टेक्नोलॉजी पे बनाए गए हैं उनका फंक्शनिंग समझना. दैट इज द ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द इंटायर 2 session. Okay, and that's why I will not use very many technical jargons. Okay, I'll make it as simple as possible. Right. Now, machine learning, what is machine learning? In case of machine learning, as in case of traditional AI, we used to explicitly program. Now, as against that, in case of machine learning, what do we do? Instead of explicitly telling the computer what to do, that is as we used to do in case of traditional or classical AI, we provide computers with lots of examples of inputs and outputs. So we will feed the machine with hundreds of data sets. Okay, hundreds of data sets comprising of inputs as well as the output. Right. So you know the input and you know the output. That is for this input, this is the output. For this input, this is the output. That is for these many symptoms, this is the disease. Okay, for these many symptoms, this is the disease, and so on. This way we have got hundreds or rather thousands of records. And we feed these records to the computer, and we use some or the other statistical technique. Okay, we use some or the other statistical technique to learn the relationship between the inputs and the outputs. So what is the objective of using, you can say, some or the other, you can say the statistical technique is simply to learn the relationship between the input. We are providing what? Input output pair or the data set. Okay, in general it is called as, and we use some or the other statistical techniques. Statistical techniques, we will have a slide wherein there are numerous possibilities. Okay, we can use any one of them. And what is the objective? Objective is to learn the relationship between the input and the output. Now, once you are done with this, once you have trained, or once the machine has learned certain aspects, okay, maybe medical diagnosis or maybe playing chess, okay, you are providing some possible moves. And let's say for these many moves, your output moves should be something like this. Okay, whatever. So input as well as output you are providing and using some or the other statistical techniques to learn the relationship between the input and the output. That is the, you can say, the simplest definition of machine learning. Okay. Now, what are all those statistical techniques which one can use for this purpose? These are the possibilities. Okay. Now, these are quite old. है ना, ये mathematics के जो होंगे आप में से, so they must be well acquainted with these things, like say linear regression, logistic regression, classification and regression, support vector machine, which is one of the oldest classic, you can say, the statistical technique. Then we have random forest recently, okay, maybe 10 years down the line. Then gradient descent, and last but not the least is the neural network. Okay, last but not the least is the neural network. So neural networks or any other technique, whatever I have listed out here, you may use it for the machine learning purpose. Okay. But again, if you look at the, you can say, the gradient descent approach in particular, you will be surprised to know that this, the mathematics, okay, involved behind this gradient descent was proposed way back in 1880, 1880. So the roots of this technology are quite deep. Okay, you cannot say that it has evolved all of it. So suddenly it has happened within a day or two, or maybe within few years. That is not the case. Okay. Now, neural networks, we'll just try to understand in little bit more detail. Again, we'll not go into the detailed mathematics behind it, but we will have a, you can say, a very broader look at all those aspects, because we need to know how do these machines learn. Okay, what is machine learning and how these machines basically learn. So what is learning, what is training, okay, and those things we'll just try to digest. Okay, because whatever tool you are using, whether you are using ChatGPT or DeepSeek, okay, on the bottom line, they are nothing but the neural networks, right? So those are the building blocks of all these large language models and so on, right? So having said this, okay, this is now again, what are the issues associated with machine learning? The story is not over there. Okay, again, we have a lot of issues associated with it. Rather, the most important issue is you have to have structured data. Okay, you have to have structured data. Now, what do I mean by structured data? You have to have numbers. Okay, the data set, whatever I have referred to, you have to have in the form of numbers. है ना, जैसा मैंने कहा आपसे कि भाई मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस में आप एक मेडिकल डायग्नोस्टिक सिस्टम बना रहे हैं, तो अब आपके पास यहाँ हर चीज के नंबर्स रहेंगे क्या? कुछ चीजों के नंबर्स रहेंगे. से फॉर एग्जांपल टेम्परेचर रहेगा, which will be either 2 digit or 3 digit, okay, at max. है ना, certain other blood pressure रहेगा. Few parameters you will have in the form of numbers. Okay, but there are few parameters which you will have in the form of text. Okay, so what you need to do is, now it is not possible to process text, right? Because as I have told you, that is, we have to have structured data. That was the limitation of this machine learning. So what we need to do is we need to carry out some pre-processing. Okay, pre-processing meaning thereby convert those text in or words into numbers. And to be very precise, numbers between 0 and 1. देखिए जो जितने भी न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स हैं, जो भी आर्किटेक्चर्स हैं, इनको जो हम वैल्यूज देते हैं, इट इज ऑलवेज बिटवीन 0 and 1. Okay, so let's say if temperature, body temperature you are recording, if it is a 2-digit number, what you need to do, you need to divide it by some constant, like say 10. If it is a 3-digit number, you need to divide it by 100. If it is a 4-digit number, divide it by 1000, and so on and so forth. So what is essentially needed is you need to perform some sort of pre-processing on the raw data, right? That pre-processing is essentially needed, right? I hope you people are with me and you are trying to understand what exactly I mean to explain, right? तो हम क्या बात कर रहे थे, हम बात कर रहे थे कि प्री प्रोसेसिंग आपको करना होगा, and naturally this pre processing will consume certain amount of time and computing resources. Alright, तो ये जो है हमें मशीन लर्निंग की लिमिटेशन में हमने बात की. अब हमें देखना है कि भाई हमने कहा कि भाई स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक यूज करते हैं. मोस्ट पॉपुलर वन इज द न्यूरल नेटवर्क. Okay, so what is neural network? Neural network is basically it is to be very precise, it is an artificial neural network, and it is inspired from the structure of human brain. Okay, so that's why we will just try to have a look at a cursory look at. हम देखेंगे कि भाई ह्यूमन ब्रेन का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, ठीक है ना. सो वी हैव in our brain millions of neurons, and how they look like you can see here, right? So you have inputs, okay, which is given to these neurons through dendrites, okay, dendrites, through which we provide the input to these neurons. We have a cell body wherein some computation will take place and we compute it, and this way there are millions of neurons, right? And they are connected with each other. And what happens next, whatever has been the result of the computation, okay, it goes through the axon to the next neuron in the network, or in human brain. So the input is given through dendrites, okay, it is some sort of processing is carried out within the cell body or the nucleus, okay, and whatever is the output, it is fed as input to the next neuron through this axon, right? On the similar line, this is the biological neuron. On the similar line, we have a artificial neural network, है ना? So artificial neural network में what is it? These X1 and X2 are the neuron, okay, and with each neuron there is a synaptic strength or weight associated. Okay, it is depicted or it is denoted by small w. Okay, normally W1, W2. To it simply indicate that which weight belong to which particular neuron. Okay, so this is the simplest, you can say this is a single layer perceptron. Then what do we do? As I've told you, that is some sort of computation will be carried out. So we have this computation block. Okay, so y is the output, y is equal to summation of x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2. Okay, and whatever is the output, it is fed as input to the next neuron. So this is the simplified artificial neural net, single layer perceptron, but this can be used only for solving XOR problem. Okay, any that's why it is also referred to as a binary neuron, right? But the things are not that simple. Okay, if you are dealing with complex problem, only 2 neurons are not sufficient enough to deal with any kind of a complex problem. Okay, so you have to have multiple neurons in the input layer. Okay, and that is why we have the structure of this artificial neural network like this. Okay, wherein we have an input layer. Okay, then there is a weight. Okay, with this input, let's say you are dealing with a handwritten numeral recognition. आप अगर handwritten numeral solve करना चाहते हैं, कंप्यूटर से recognize करना है, या आपका finger trip है, या फिर आपका इस तरह की hundreds of application can be there. So what do? We extract features from that number, okay, okay, and fed all those values. Let's say you have extracted around 40 odd features. तो हम क्या करेंगे? X0 to X39 वो features को यहाँ पे input करेंगे, ठीक है? Then as I have told you, that is with each x0 there is a w0 associated. And the learning capabilities of these artificial neural networks are due to these weights. So in the training phase, what do? We learn the value of these weights. Right? How? That is what we are going to look at. So x0 to x39, w0 to w39, then you sum up, that is x0 into w0, x1 into w1 up to xn, or rather x39 into w39. And then whatever is the output, okay, it goes through some activation function. अब इसमें हम बहुत डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे. What is activation function is basically it is a non-linearity through which now there are various possibilities, sigmoidal, ReLU, there are many things, है ना. हमें अभी उन चीजों में उलझना नहीं है, हम एक ब्रॉड पिक्चर समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो ट्रेनिंग में हम क्या करते हैं? ट्रेनिंग में we start now. The input is nothing but the feature whatever you have extracted, okay, from the source, okay. अब आपको क्या करना है? वेट्स. मैंने बार बार आपसे रिपीट कर रहा हूं कि वैल्यू ऑफ दीज न्यूरॉन्स एज वेल एज दिस वेट इज ऑलवेज बिटवीन 0 एंड 1. तो हम क्या करेंगे? वेट्स हमें लर्न करने हैं. तो व्हाट विल डू, विल स्टार्ट विद द वैल्यू ऑफ वेट एज लेट्स से 0.5, है ना. 0 और 1 के बीच में लेट अस अज्यूम 0.5 इज द बेस्ट वन टू बिगिन विद. ओके, वी आर टेकिंग अ मीन. ओके, तो 0.5 से शुरू किया हमने. इनपुट दे दिया, यहाँ पे सारे वेट्स की वैल्यू 0.5 ली. देन यू आर कंप्यूटिंग द आउटपुट. ओके, यू आर कंप्यूटिंग द आउटपुट. So whatever is the output, let us assume that the desired output is 1.0. Okay, this is just for the sake of example. Okay, the desired output is 1.0, whereas the actual output you are getting by means of this computation is, let us assume, 0.75. Meaning thereby there is an error of 1 minus 0.75, that is 0.25. Okay, now we are learning these inputs. Okay, now we cannot change the input. Okay, x0 to x39 हम बदल सकते हैं क्या? बिल्कुल नहीं बदल सकते हैं. What we can change is we can change the value of these weights. हमको error minimize करना है. 0.25 error आ गया हमारा पहले run में. So what we will do, we will now how weight can be changed? Either you can decrease it or you may decrease it or you may increase it. Okay, let us try to increase it by 0.1. यानी 0.5 से हमने शुरू किया था. अब हम क्या कर रहे हैं? सेकंड रन में सारे वेट्स की वैल्यू 0.6 कर दी हमने. ओके, एंड अगेन वी कंप्यूट द रिजल्ट. लेट्स अज्यूम दैट इन दिस केस you are getting, earlier you are getting 0.75 as the answer. Now you are getting 0.8 as the answer. Meaning thereby the earlier the error was 0.25. Now it has been reduced to 0.2, है ना. तो अब हम क्या करेंगे? हमारा एरर तो अब 0.2 हो गया, मतलब हम सही डायरेक्शन में. मीनिंग thereby you are in the right direction. So you go on increasing the value of weight, okay, till you get the value of this error as minimal. Okay, or to be very precise, 0.00000000, something like that. Okay, and at that point of time we will stop training and we declare that the training is over. So whatever are the values of weight at that point of time, okay, we declare that the weights are normalized and training is over. But the things are not that simple. Okay, many times what happens, even though you increase the value of weight, okay, you toggle there itself many times, है ना. That is what they call it as local minima, है ना. तो ये local minima में आप stuck up हो जाते हैं कई बार. So how to come out of that local minima? Okay, there are very many things. You need to add momentum term. तो बहुत सा मैथमेटिक्स है. हमने एक ब्रॉड पिक्चर देखी, ठीक है. तो ये ब्रॉड पिक्चर ये समझने के लिए जरूरी है कि आपको ट्रेनिंग कैसे होता है. अब ट्रेनिंग तीन प्रकार से होता है. एक है सुपरवाइज्ड, सेकंड है अनसुपरवाइज्ड, एंड द थर्ड वन इज द रीइंफोर्समेंट ट्रेनिंग. सुपरवाइज्ड ट्रेनिंग में क्या होता है कि यू नो द इनपुट एंड यू नो द आउटपुट. Unsupervised, you know the input, but you don't know the output. Like input is known to you, but the output is unknown. Okay, completely unknown. Third is the reinforcement training, wherein the strategy is pretty simple. हम क्या करते हैं कि it is very similar to when a small kid learn how to walk, है ना? तो बच्चा आपने देखे होंगे पहले खड़े होने की कोशिश करता है, फिर चलने के लिए जब कदम बढ़ाता है तो कभी गिर जाता है. Okay, then he or she will try to balance and then maybe take some support of wall or maybe whatever support is available there, okay, or nearby. तो इसे कहा जाता है reinforcement training, है ना? Learning by trial and error. Okay, learning by trial and error. So this reinforcement, not exactly, there are many strategies. Some of the variant of these reinforcement training algorithms are being used by large language model like say ChatGPT or DeepSeek, है ना? तो लर्निंग के लिए वो यही reinforcement training यूज करते हैं. तो हमने देखा कि भाई ट्रेनिंग किस प्रकार से होता है. ठीक है, आई होप यू आर गेटिंग मी एंड वी आर ऑल कनेक्टेड, है ना? तो अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. अब हमने कुछ यहाँ पे टर्म्स टॉस की थी, हम उसको एक 2 मिनट में कर्सरी विल हैव अ लुक एट दोज एस्पेक्ट. दैट इज वी कॉल इट एज पर सैंपल अपडेटिंग. अपडेटिंग मतलब हम क्या करते हैं, वेट्स की वैल्यू अपडेट करते हैं. सो अपडेटिंग वेट्स एंड बायसेस आफ्टर द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ ईच सैंपल, जो हमने विस्तृत में आपको समझा के बताया अभी. Then per training set updating, we call it as epoch or iteration. Okay, so this is when you cycle through from this input to output is known as one iteration or one epoch. So you may set 500 epochs, 5,000 epoch, or 50,000 epoch, or 50,000 iteration for training purpose, right? So that is epoch and so on. Okay, then हमने बात की classical AI. Then we have talked about what they call it as the second was the machine learning. Machine learning, again, we were having certain set of problem. Then we moved into an era of deep learning. Okay, that is from 2006 onwards, we enter into an era of deep learning algorithms. Okay, so what is deep learning? Deep learning is, on the bottom line, it is neural network, which we have discussed at length. Okay, so the only difference is, in this case, we have a very complex structure or very deep structures, right? Wherein the number of neurons are in millions, you can say, and the number of layers are in hundreds. Okay, so that is why these structures are referred to as deep learning structures. Okay, that is basically it is machine learning. Bottom line, it is machine learning only. The only difference is that it is very deep structure, and that is why deep learning it is referred to as. Okay, so from last 20 years we are into this deep learning kind of a structure. Okay, so in case of deep learning, from user's perspective, what are the input output modalities? Okay, as we used to discuss in case of you can say the machine learning, the problem was we have to have structured data or the data which can be numeralized. Okay, and that's why we need to carry out many times pre-processing, right? In case of deep learning architecture, the input is either structured or unstructured. Now, what do I mean by unstructured? Unstructured is something, say I may give image as an input. That is the best example of unstructured data, right? So you may give structured as we used to give in case of machine learning, but again, unstructured data can be processed by these deep learning algorithms. And what about the output? Output is once again structured only. Output is once again structured only, meaning thereby, best example is आप आपके डे टू डे लाइफ में बहुत frequently यूज कर रहे हैं उसे. Okay, most of us, irrespective of the brand of the mobile handset, okay, we have got this feature as very common, that is whenever you unlock your mobile through your face recognition. तो हम exactly क्या कर रहे हैं? Whenever you purchase a new mobile handset, what do? You train that particular mobile handset okay, by exposing your face from different angle. Okay, so it will capture certain features of your, you can say the face, and it will store. So some deep learning algorithm is running, okay, which will learn all those feature in a real time mode, okay, and it will store. है ना, लर्निंग में हमने देखा कि भाई हम क्या करते हैं, वेट्स नॉर्मलाइज करते हैं, तो वेट्स की वैल्यूज नॉर्मलाइज होगी, समवेयर इट हैज केप्ट इट, okay, and whenever in the next run when you switch it off, after some time again when you switch it on, what it does, it will once again capture your features, okay, from your face, and it just tries to match whether it is exactly same with the stored one or not. If it is so, the mobile will be unlocked, okay. If it is not, okay, you will get some or this other sort of error message, unrecognized face, something like that. Okay, so that's why I'm saying output is structured only, either yes or no. Okay, either yes or no, and it will unlock or it will not unlock, right? It will come out with some appropriate error message. So deep learning, these are the input output modalities, right? These are the out, and then use case I have already told you. Now, if you just recall, the fourth block was the generative AI. है ना, ये जो present era है, okay, this is the era of what they call it as the Gen AI era, है ना. तो Gen AI में अब हम कहाँ पे हैं, है ना, और ये Gen AI क्या है? Basically, it is a small subset of AI. So on top we have AI, then we have machine learning, then we have deep learning, and the innermost block is what is generative AI, right? So it is the small subset of AI. But if you look at the potential of this technology, or particularly the Gen AI tool, you will be surprised to know that these tools are capable of creating new original content. And now that is where the problem is, right? So these tools are capable of creating new original content. यानी आपको एक आधा आर्टिकल लिखना है, रिसर्च पेपर लिखना है, एक आधा बुक चैप्टर लिखना है, you can do it quite easily. But whether we should use it for that purpose, okay, the answer is a big no. Why I'm saying big no? Because if you are doing so, definitely you are making some compromises on ethical front. ठीक है ना, तो आपने वो नहीं करना चाहिए, ठीक है ना, ideally नहीं करना चाहिए. And we'll talk in detail when we'll talk about the, you can say, the research component of this session. Okay, so you can create new original content. Now, what sort of content you can create? New meaning thereby which didn't exist before, यानी जिसका अस्तित्व इसके पहले था नहीं, है ना. हमें एक आधी नई पेंटिंग क्रिएट करनी है MF की, यानी वो लाइन पे, वो स्ट्रक्चर पे, या वो कैनवास पे, so we can do it quite easily by writing a prompt. Okay, so you can create images, text, as I've already told you, or you can compose music. Okay, just give the song and ask it to compose a music. It will do it quite easily for you. Now, if you look at, you can say, the dimension of this generative AI, okay, you will be surprised to note that it is challenging creativity and innovation. And that is where the problem is. Okay, so see, the creativity and innovation, earlier it was associated with only human intelligence. Now that is being challenged by these tools. Okay, and that's why it is problematic. And that's why in some of the nations, particularly developed nations, the usage of few of these tools is strictly prohibited. Okay. So I'm not saying that this is the dark side of this technology. Okay, but let's say if you are using it for some routine task, there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, and as on date in our country, we do not have any regulatory guidelines. Hello, yes sir. Gajanan sir, कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
No, sir, no.
All right. ठीक है ना? So as on date, you can stop me at any point of time. I do not have any problem. Okay, I will take questions in between as well. Okay, so if you have something coming up instantly in your mind, okay, you may fire it there itself. Okay, we'll have some discussion on those lines. But this is dangerous. Okay, this is dangerous. I hope all of you will agree with me. And we have to have some regulatory guidelines from UGC or AICT in this regard, okay, or maybe MCI, okay, for the usage of all these tools. But as on date, we don't have any guidelines. Okay, so we are free to use these tools. Now, while using these tools, you need to define your own boundaries. Okay, I'm not saying that nobody will tell you, okay, this is right or this is wrong. Okay, you need to work in your own way. You need to define your own boundaries. That is up to what extent you want to use these tools. It is up to you to decide. But this is highly dangerous. And again, it's not that easy. That let's say if you are using it for creating a research paper, and you submit that paper, whatever you have created with using any Gen AI tool. Okay, so what will happen? Whether you feel that it will be accepted for publication, the answer is a big no. Okay, when you put it for plagiarism check, what will happen? The stuff generated by this tool will be identified as a flag or AI generated stuff. Okay, AI generated. It will not exactly come up which tool you have, whether you have used Claude or whether you have used Sky Space or anything else, right? But it will be red flag as a AI generated stuff. Okay, and the similarity index will boom up. Okay, and it will be rejected summarily, right? So that's why I'm saying you don't use it for that purpose. Okay, but these tools has got that potential that one has to understand. Okay, now in terms of input output modalities, okay, we need to understand. Okay, this is very important from users perspective, and that's why we are discussing it at length. Okay, in case of generative AI, what kind of input you can provide? You can provide completely unstructured input. Now, unstructured meaning thereby text or image or a combination of text and image and so on and so forth, or text and you can say text along with a video and so on. So completely unstructured. And what about the output modalities? The output modalities are, now you have n number of possibilities here. Okay, you write a prompt in text in the form of a text, okay, English-like statement, and ask it to generate an image. Okay, all these aspects we'll discuss later on in this session. Okay, I'll show you that is how these things works. Right. So text to image or vice versa, that is image to text. Okay, text to music or text to text, which is new normal nowadays. Okay, this is how we interact with ChatGPT most of the time. Whenever you face some problem, you ask to ChatGPT, and then based on the responses, okay, you get many times you get fantastic solution as well. Okay, so that is becoming new normal nowadays, right? So text to text is the most common one, but these many possibilities are there. What is the real power of this Gen AI tool? The real power basically lies between you can say these multi-modal capabilities. That is, you can give input as text plus image or text plus video or text plus anything ideally. Okay, whatever file format, okay, it will accept it. And what about the output? Output is once again multi-modal. So this multi-modality makes it a little bit different from all other its competitors. Okay, and that is where the problem is, right? But there is nothing wrong in using all these tools for your routine task. Let's say if you want to prepare a PowerPoint presentation, what is wrong in using Notebook LM for that? There's nothing wrong, right? Because that job is not so creative, right? And many times we invest hours. Okay, rather we spend hours in developing all those PowerPoint. Okay, you know how difficult it is to align the text and then position it in the appropriate thing and so on. So those things can be done quite easily, right, with these tools, right? I'm really sorry.
You're muted, sir. You're on the mute mode. Not audible.
Yeah. Whether am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Sorry
yes,
for
sir.
the interruption. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So just somebody confirm the slides you are able to see. Yeah. Whether the slides are visible?
Yes, sir. Power of Gen AI, generative AI.
Okay, okay. So this multimodal functionality, this is what I was talking about. Okay, and that is the real power of this Gen AI tool and so on. Now let's move ahead with some other aspect of this Gen AI. That is, usually these tools are not available free of cost. And the reason behind that is basically the amount of training cost, okay, involved. Okay, this is again quite old data which I have captured from the Stanford University 2024 AI Index. So, which clearly mentions that the GPT-3, the training cost was 4.3 million US dollar. GPT-4 it was 78.4. Okay, and Gemini Ultra it is basically hello, yeah, it is 191.4 something like that. And that's why most of these tools are not available free of cost. Okay, and the beta version of these tools you may get it free of cost, but you need to pay for it whenever you want to go for a pro kind of a usage. Okay, now we'll just try to sum up whatever we have discussed till now, starting from traditional AI, classical AI to the generative AI. Okay, so we need to know where we were, okay, when we started, okay, in 1956, and where we are in 2026. Okay, so this slide will give you an idea. That is how these things are completely different, and what are the, you can say, the various aspects of it. Okay, so the primary goal of this traditional AI, it was only pattern recognition and classification. Say classifying handwritten numerals into 0 to 9 or 10 classes, or recognizing certain things, certain aspects, right? So recognition and classification only limited. But if you look at the generative AI, the primary goal is the content creation and synthesis. Okay, so you can create content, creativity. Okay, that too altogether new content which didn't exist before, है ना? और output type है आपका predetermined labels or predictions. Okay, in case of traditional AI, whereas in case of generative AI, it is new original content. Now you need to underline this word new, and I am saying original. Okay, and what sort of content? Text, images, etc. Anything or a combination, right? What about the data usage? It analyzes data to find specific trends. Whereas in case of generative AI, it learns from the data. So it learned 24/7. And from where it learned? It learned from the various sources of, you can say, uh, internet, okay, which is the primary source of generating all that data. Okay, and we are basically responsible up to some extent for giving that data. Okay, whenever you are online, you are providing some or the other data. So it learns from the data which is being generated on the net or the internet, to be very precise. Right. Then what about the interaction? It was one way only. That is input to result. What about Gen AI? It is interactive and conversational. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here is interactive and conversational, meaning thereby, whenever you interact with any Gen AI tool, okay, many times you feel that as if you are interacting with some human being sitting on the other side and responding to your queries, and conversational, right? So, and that is the real power of this, you can say, the uh, generative AI. Okay. Now, what are the core components of Gen AI? Now, having said this, we need to understand what are the building blocks. Okay, what are the building blocks of this generative AI? Okay, so on the bottom line, we have what they call it as the foundation model. Okay, so what are foundation models? Basically, these are the models which you may call them as the base model. Okay, and they are basically trained on massive diverse data set. Okay, so their training took place on huge amount of data, massive amount of data set, and it served as a versatile starting point for many different applications. Okay, and that's why they are referred to as base model. So a specific subset of these is the large language model, like say Chat GPT and so on. Okay, so which is basically specifically optimized to handle natural language. That is, you need not require any computing background or any programming knowledge to deal with these tools. Okay, that is the foundation models in particular, because they are capable of understanding your natural language. So, and most of these tools again has got some local language support as well. You may give prompt in Hindi or Marathi as well. Okay, but English is undoubtedly they are capable of handling. And what do they do? What is their potential? They can perform tasks such as writing, translation, and summarization quite easily. So that is becoming new normal with all these tools. Okay, this foundation model, and that is the building block of, you can say, this Gen AI tool, right? What is their potential? Large language models, I have tossed this LLM as here. Okay, so we need to know what this LLM is. So this LLM is nothing but a neural network. Okay, this LLM is not, now we are very well know, we are well acquainted with what is a neural network. So it is a neural network which is trained to predict the next term in an input sequence. For example, if you provide all that glitters as the input, it will come up with the answer like say is not gold. Meaning thereby it is capable of predicting the next word in the sequence. Okay, or the input sequence to be very precise. Right. And I hope all of you will appreciate that this sort of functionality will definitely require some sort of artificial intelligence, right? Because now, see, all that glitters, if you give, there are hundreds of possibilities, right? But it is giving you exactly what is the context and what exactly the user want. Okay, so it will come up with this particular answer, and this is really worth appreciable. Okay, in terms of, you can say, the achievement of these large language models. Another core component of this Gen AI tool is the transformer. Okay, so what is a transformer? It is basically uh, it typically utilizes what they call it as the attention mechanism. Okay, which allows the model to understand the relationship between different words or data points. Say, for example, you have given this all that glitters as the input. So it will try to understand these words, okay, and the context in which it has been asked. Okay, that is their relationship. Okay, and then in a particular sequence, okay, they may be far away from each other. For example, if you look at this example as well, so all that glitters, okay, there is no link which you can establish between, because they are all three different words, you can say. Okay, but the tool is capable of understanding the using attention mechanism. They understand the context, okay, in which it has been asked, and accordingly it will generate the, you can say, the most appropriate answer for you. Okay, not all the time you will get the correct answer, but many times. So again, their accuracy, their you can say, there are many issues with regard to this, but they are capable of doing so. Okay, one has to appreciate. Okay, then training and fine tuning. Another core component is the training and fine tuning. That is, you need to train it, and once you have trained it with the foundation knowledge, okay, you need to fine tune it. Let's say you want to adopt a tool for your own organization, but that tool is a general purpose tool. Okay, trained with some foundation knowledge, okay, using some base knowledge. Okay, and you want to adopt it for your own university or institution or the enterprise you are running. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to train it with your own data, your organizational data, or your you can say corporate data, wherever you are working with, or maybe your personal data, and fine tune it. So that fine tuning is needed. Okay, so as to adapt it for the usage. Okay, or maybe for customization, you may say. Okay, so that you get more accurate responses from the tool, right? So training is typically carried out with the foundation knowledge, okay, but fine tuning with maybe your own organizational knowledge or your own personal knowledge. Okay, that is again you need to carry out training and fine tuning, and this is a typical life cycle of a Gen AI tool. Okay, this is a typical life cycle of Gen AI tool, wherein we have some sort of pre-training, okay, wherein the model is exposed to diverse range of data from all across the internet, books, code repositories, and so on. So, which allows the model to learn the basic rule of the language. Let's say you are teaching Marathi. Okay, so what it will do, it will catch hold of all that data, whatever is available on internet. Okay, with regard to Marathi language, it will try to understand the basic rules, okay, logic, and maybe some general knowledge, okay, general word knowledge. Okay, that is pre-training. Then fine tuning, that is, you need to refine it with your own, you can say, the use cases, okay, so that the model becomes more reliable and helpful for some specific, you can say, professional tasks. So fine tuning is intended for maybe you can say training it with your own personal data or organizational data, okay, for carrying out some professional activity. All right. Then we do have another life cycle of this Gen AI tool. Okay, normally in case of software development, we have a software development life cycle. So this is a life cycle of a generative AI. Okay, then we have a inference. Okay, so this is typically the operational phase, okay, wherein you write the prompt and interact with the tool, okay. And how does the performance of these tool improve? There is a feedback mechanism, okay. So human feedback, okay, based on your feedback and maybe the performance data, your own experiences, okay, they are typically used for improving the performance. So the you can say the latter version, okay, they will have all those features available in that, right? So this is a life cycle of a Gen AI tool. Now, what are the popular Gen AI models, right? Now, here onwards, we'll be referring to, rather, we'll be looking at almost all the aspects from, you can say, the usage perspective, and application perspective, and so on. So we have a GPT series, okay, which has been developed by OpenAI, okay, which is a private organization, okay, and that's why it is paid, okay. GPT maybe three or probably 4 is free, but if you go for the latest version, you need to go for a subscription, paid subscription for it. But what is the power of this GPT? It is the conversational ability. Okay, you can interact quite easily, okay, with these GPT tools and so on. Then we have Delhi or Midjourney, which is typically deals with what they call it as the creative AI. Okay, you can create images or whatnot, okay, using this Delhi and so on. Then you have IBM Granite, okay. But again, with all these OpenAI tools, Gen AI tool, okay, we have a problem, what they call it as the black box problem associated. What is this black box problem is all about? Black box problem is to put it in simple words, Okay, whenever you interact with these tools, okay, you write some prompt and the tool will act upon that prompt. Okay, and it will give you some or the other answer, right? So you never know what is happening within that tool. Okay, within that tool. So if you ask the anybody in the world, okay, if you ask the developer or the OpenAI people or maybe IBM personnel, that is how this tool has arrived at this particular answer, that is not known to any one of them. Whether my slides are visible? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Roll number 3. At least you are there. All right. Whether you are enjoying the session, yes or no?
A sort of technical aspects, but yes, sir, relevant and understanding.
टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट चाहिए, आपका कहना है कि ज्यादा टेक्निकल होना चाहिए था या थोड़ा सा सुपरफिशियल हो रहा है क्या? व्हाट इज इट एग्जैक्टली?
No, sir. It is going well.
इट इज
Um,
गोइंग वेल.
yes, sir. Yes.
मे आई नो हु इज ऑन द लाइन?
Sir, I am Rishikesh Kakre.
ऋषिकेश काकड़े. You are
Yes, sir.
from which institute, sir?
So I am from Institute of Management and Research, MGM University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar,
Okay,
Aurangabad,
great.
sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
I will be visiting your institute on 11th of this month probably. Okay,
The
we will
most,
meet in person.
sir, most welcome, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Yes.
yes. Okay, just break. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So we were talking about IBM Granite black box. What is it? मतलब आप जो prompt देते हो, फिर it is processed by the tool and you get some or the other answer. But nobody in the world can justify how that particular tool has arrived at that particular answer. And that is why it is referred to as a black box. यानी आपने अगर जो कंपनी के लोगों ने उसे बनाया, वो डेवलपमेंट टीम से भी बात की, तो वो भी यही कहेंगे कि सॉरी, वी विल नॉट बी इन ए पोजीशन टू जस्टिफाई. व्हाई इट इज सो? बिकॉज the complexity is so high. There are hundreds of layers and millions of neurons, so you don't know what is happening within that black box, and that is why it is referred to as black box. Now there are solutions to it, what they call it as the explainable AI or transparent box, that is converting that black box into a transparent box so that you can have that justification mechanism. And that's why these tools are many times not trustworthy, okay, or transparent. And it is, say for example, if you are using it for medical diagnosis, okay, and you are heavily relying on these tools. अब डॉक्टर के पास गए, अब डॉक्टर ने पता चला कि अपना लैपटॉप ऑन किया और आपसे सिम्टम पूछ के पता चला कि कुछ तो भी डाल दिए, and then the tool has diagnosed that you are suffering from some chronic disease. ठीक है, तो और ट्रीटमेंट शुरू हो गया आपका वो लाइन पे, फिर कुछ दिन बाद आपकी तबीयत बिगड़ने लगी, some your dear friend visit your place and he advised you कि भाई why don't you take a second opinion, and then you approach some another doctor, and that doctor, when he carried out certain tests, okay, some confirmatory test, he has diagnosed something else. Now to whom you will sue? Whether you will sue the doctor or you will sue the GPT OpenAI people, okay, those who have developed that particular. So typical application, okay, the usage of these tools, maybe military application, again the usage is highly dangerous. Okay, let's say you are targeting the enemy's area, and what is happening is the missile is landing in your own area. So that is again possible, right? So what I'm trying to emphasize is basically over reliant on these tools is highly dangerous. So this black box is the another black spot on all these AI, generative AI tools. Okay, so we must be very cautious while handling with these tools. Okay, then we have Cloud and Gemini, okay, which is referred to as a next gen of reasoning models. Okay, focusing on long-term context and complex multi-step problem solving. So we will definitely have a look at few of them, okay, in the second session. Okay, what are the use cases for academic and industry? Okay, for education and research, we have we may use it for, you can say, auto-generating lesson plan. You can build application by writing a simple prompt. Okay, I don't know whether you have used anti-gravity by Google. Okay, you download that tool, okay, and simply write a prompt in 1 or 2 lines, asking it to generate a application for the generation of lesson plan, or maybe for creating quizzes and providing some intelligent tutoring system. It will do it within no time. So those days are gone, wherein you require some technical skill for using all these tools. Now that is not at all needed. Okay. Then for research, you may use it for summarizing dense research paper. Okay. That we will see, summarizing, synthesizing and summarizing papers. Okay. For marketing, again, generating entire marketing campaigns. Okay. Then healthcare, maybe patient report, analyzing or summarizing patient report. Then finance, maybe risk management, and then so on and so forth. तो इन सब चीजों के लिए आप इसको अवश्य यूज कर सकते हैं, है ना? बट देयर आर certain areas wherein you have to define your own boundaries. Okay, but there are definitely few use cases of this technology, particularly in education and research. So we'll just try to explore all those things in greater detail. Okay, but at the same time, we need to know that is how these large language models or all these GenAI tools, how do they function and what are their key characteristics. So as far as the LLMs are concerned, their key characteristics are these LLM understand natural language, and that is the real power of all these tools. Okay, they are capable of understanding your natural language. And how do they do it? They do it through some advanced algorithms. Okay, so how do we interact with these tools? We interact with these tools by writing a prompt. Okay, so that prompt is comprised of words. So these tools are capable of understanding the words, sentences, and the context in which that prompt has been written or it has been crafted. Right. So merely word and sentences understanding is not enough. Okay, this context is the, you can say, the third dimension of it. But these tools are capable of understanding the context as well. Right. Then we do have another important characteristic as the text generation. What do they do once they have understood the prompt? These tools are capable of generating coherent, contextually relevant text based on the input query. तो आपने जो भी वो दिया है, इनपुट दिया है या प्रॉम्प्ट दिया है ना, जो भी आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव है, इट विल जनरेट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ टेक्स्ट. ओके, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो. Coherent, contextually relevant. Okay, we need to underline this. Okay, based on the input query, and that is the real power of all these tools. Okay, and that's why we have you can say hundreds of application of these tools. So these are the two important characteristics. Then how do these tools basically works? There are 5 steps. Again, we are looking at in a very broader perspective, है ना? हम बहुत डिटेल में अंदर नहीं जा रहे हैं, लेकिन as a user we need to know that is how do they function. Okay, so the very first step is what they call it as the tokenization. है ना? Tokenization में क्या होता है? The input text is broken down into smaller units or tokens. Say for example, in a single statement, you have used around 20 odd words. So for simplicity, you may assume that each word will be considered as one token. But many times it is more than that. Why? Because let's say if you put reading, ing, the meaning or the context changes. Okay, if you say es, okay, so that ing will be considered as another token. Okay, so many times the number of tokens are more than the number of words. But for simplicity, you can assume that each word is considered as one token. Okay, so it simply divides those words into tokens, and these tokens are then converted into numerical vectors. Now it is not possible to you can say process the words. So what we need to do, we need to convert those words into numbers or numerical vectors, to be very precise, right? ताकि नंबर से फिर आप नंबर से कंप्यूटर को आप प्रोसेस कर पाएंगे. ठीक है ना? तो embedding in short is converting those words or tokens into numerical vectors which can be processed by the computers, okay, or computation ready sort of thing, right? Then we have self-attention. This is the another important steps. So the model assesses which parts of the text are most important for understanding the theory. है ना? जैसे आप examination में बैठते हैं, you have got a question like say explain some XYZ and question mark, and then you have justification. The question carries 6 marks. Okay, so you very well know that the 4 marks are reserved for the explanation, 2 for justification. So if you miss the justification, you will lose those 2 marks. Okay, so it will understand. Okay, let's say if you post this sort of thing, it will understand that the justification is equally important, right? And accordingly, it will craft the answer. So it will underline the most important word for understanding the query. Okay. Then predictive capabilities, which we have already talked about, that these models are capable of predicting the next word or token based on the context provided by the input text. And at the end, what do? They generate the response. And what kind of a response that we have already talked about, that is stringing together relevant words in a coherent manner. Okay, contextually relevant response. So these are the 5 steps. Okay, and this is applicable to all, whether you are using ChatGPT or whether you are using DeepSeek or any LLM for that purpose. Okay, this is very standard and common. Okay, they may have some implementation differences. Okay, but broadly this is how it is. Right. Now, as far as the training is concerned, it is carried out in 3 phases. Okay, what are all those phases? You feed the input, then you pre-train it with some language patterns or reasoning capabilities and the context. Okay, and then fine tuning. Okay, wherein we make it adaptive to a specific domain. Okay, or customize it to a particular organizational usage. Okay, and then we do have an inference at the end. Okay, now we are left with what? We are left with only one thing. And what is it? It is nothing but the prompt engineering. Okay, that is how to write a precise or rather how to craft a precise input so as to get the desired output. Okay, why I'm saying precise? Okay, because if you consume more number of tokens, you see these LLM has got certain limitation on number of tokens. Okay, so that's why we try to optimize on those accounts. Okay, so if you use minimum number of token, okay, and without making any compromises on the output, that is always desirable, right? So effective prompt engineering. Now this is one complete area of engineering has emerged. What they call it as prompt engineering. So as a user, we need to know what is it and what are a few basic prompt engineering techniques. हम बहुत डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे, काफी हम उन चीजों पे बात करेंगे तो बहुत वक्त लगेगा, ठीक है ना? So how to write a effective prompt, ठीक है ना? So as to meet the user's expectation, right? Now, having said this, there are few basic prompt engineering techniques. Okay, the very first one is what they call it as the you can say the zero-shot prompting. Okay, zero-shot prompting, meaning thereby you don't give any example. And this is how most of the time we interact with all these tools. Okay, we don't provide them any example. We fire a straightforward question, asking them to explain a particular concept or anything, right? Without providing any example. So that's why many times in case of zero-shot prompting, we get more generic responses from these tools. And many times you get disappointed and you say, oh, this tool is of no use. Okay, it is very, you can say, very generic. It is giving very generic responses. But that is not the case. Okay, if you give one example, okay, and ask it to generate the response, you will get more tailored response in that case. I'll give you one simple example so that you can understand the analogy, how it works. Presume that you have designed a new motorcycle, okay, and you want to launch that motorcycle in the market, okay, and your objective is to design or craft a tagline for that particular. Okay, So those who are from management, they will appreciate this example, right? So if you want to craft the tagline for that product, and if you don't give any example, you may get, you can say, the responses varying from few words to few hundred words. So because the tool doesn't know what exactly you want. But let's say if you give the example of your competitor, let's assume Hero Honda is your competitor, and the tagline of Hero Honda is "Fill it, forget it." Okay, now you cite this example as an example and ask it to generate. So you will get more tailored response. Why? The tool will exactly understand you want a you can say a tagline, not more than 4 words. Okay, and each word must um, depict some USP of that particular product, like say fuel efficiency or anything like that. तो अब क्या होगा, अब जो प्रॉम्प्ट जनरेट, अब इस आपने एग्जांपल दिया, ओके, वन शॉट, जीरो शॉट की बजाय हम वन शॉट पे जा रहे हैं, ओके, so you are giving one example. So if you are giving one example, the job of the tool will become a little bit easier and will exactly understand what the user want. So it will generate a tagline, maybe not exactly in 4 words, maybe 4 or 5 words or 6 words, but definitely below 10 words, very short but uh, fantastic tagline. Okay, and each word will depict some or the other peculiar characteristic or USP of your new product which you are about to launch. Right. So if you give example, the job of the tool becomes little bit easier and you get more tailored responses. Okay, that is one short prompting. So this way you may give more than one example. Okay, you may call it as few short prompting, wherein you are giving 2 or 3 examples. Okay, so that is called as the few short prompting. There's one more thing, what they call it as the role prompting. Okay. So you may assign a role or persona to a particular tool. You may say, assume you are a vice chancellor of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University or BAMU, okay, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, okay, and then you ask your query. Now what will happen? It will go through all the directions, all the, you can say, the notification issued by Dr. Bamu, okay, and it will craft the answer. Okay. So now, and it will look it from that point of view. That is as if you are the tool will act as if it is holding the charge of a honorable vice chancellor of Dr. Bamu. Right. So that is role. Okay, that is the role which you may assign. You may assign a role of a DSP or DM of a particular district and ask it to. So you get more tailored responses. So role prompting is another important prompting techniques. So this way there are many. हम और एक दो देखेंगे, ज़्यादा नहीं देखेंगे. Chain of thought, which typically involves breaking down a task into smaller logical steps. Okay, एक बड़े इसको आपने क्या किया, छोटे छोटे steps में किया, and you are feeding it one after another. Meta prompting, wherein you are asking it to write or generate prompt for you. Okay, auto generate, you may say. Okay, but this requires little bit more expert level of reasoning and sophisticated responses. Then there is a tree of thought, and I wish to visit my place, from my place Amravati to Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, right? So there are 4 or 5 routes. Okay, so what it will do, it will explore all the routes and it will give me the most optimal route in terms of toll, traffic condition, and so on, right? So it will give you, it will explore 4 or 5 solutions to your problem. It will output the problem, the answer, which is most optimal in terms of certain parameters. That is tree of thought. Okay, prompt chaining, wherein you are giving multi-step one after another, and so on and so forth, right? So these are few basic prompting techniques one should know before interacting with these tools, right? Now there are few parameters which we must be concerned about as a user, है ना? क्या होता है कि हम जब इन टूल से इंटरेक्ट करते हैं तो मेनी टाइम्स यू गेट डिसअपॉइंटेड कि अरे भाई तो बड़ा जेनेरिक रिस्पॉन्स देता है, कोई काम का नहीं है, इट इज ऑफ नो यूज, यूजलेस, right? but we don't know how these parameters are basically set. So again, there are hundreds of parameters, but we'll talk about only 2 or 3. Okay, and then we'll end up our first part of the session. So temperature, the value of this temperature ranges between 0 to 2. That is 0.0 to 2.0. Okay. If you keep it on the lower side, let's say it is set to 0, okay, you will get more generic responses. But let's say if you want to have more creative responses, what you need to do is you need to keep it on higher size, maybe 1.5 or 2.0. तो अगर आप उसे 1.5 या 2.0 करते हो, तो you will get more creative outputs. Or the another term which is typically used as more random responses. Okay, so randomness is associated with the value of this temperature. Now, how to set this, that I will show you in the live demonstration. Okay. The another parameter is the max token, which defines the length of the response. Okay, longer token limits result in more detailed answer. So you may specify exactly how many tokens you want to use for generating response for a particular prompt. Okay, so that can be set quite easily just with this max token. Then how many potential words you want to have in the response. So those things can be set in this top P. Okay, what they call it as the nucleus sampling. So typically in lower value focuses the model on the most likely outcomes. Okay, again, you may call it as the randomness or the creativity and so on, right? So frequency penalty and presence penalty. Many times we get redundant responses by these tools. If you want to avoid that, you need to set these 2 parameters, frequency penalty and presence penalty appropriately. Okay, so that the redundancy can be avoided. Okay. Now, whether this means that all these tools are that this is the end of the story, okay, and they are fantastic, okay, or they do not have any problems, or whether they are foolproof, okay, the answer is a big no. Okay, these tools, once again, they suffer from n number of problems. What are all those problems? Okay, this slide will give you an idea. Okay, so one of the biggest problem with this tool is the hallucination. I hope we are connected. Okay, I'm taking little longer. Actually, we were supposed to break, but let me finish this particular part within 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will definitely have a break for 5 minutes. Okay, so that you can have your tea. Okay, and then we will continue the second part of the session. So, what is hallucination? It will answer the query that it doesn't know. Okay, we are all teachers, you know. Whenever you conduct a Viva House examination, okay, the student many times they don't know, but they try to attempt, right, the questions. Okay, and that is what is hallucination is all about. Then all these tools has got certain biases. Okay, knowledge cutoff. Knowledge cutoff meaning thereby they have been trained up to a specified date. Okay, the data set which has been used. Let's say you have used for training to a particular tool, the data available up to December 2025. So whatever happenings took place after December 2025 to June or July 2026, that is not known to the tool. Okay, so definitely you will get some inappropriate responses. Okay, the another drawback is it doesn't know about you or your organization, right? So you need to train it with your own data. Okay, you need to tell who you are, what is your organizational all about, and what are your functional areas and so on. Okay, the another problem is training cost of these tool is high. I think we have talked in detail about this training cost, okay, which is tremendously high. Then the another issue is the latency, time taken to get an output. Many times when you interact these tools, there are delays in getting the response. Again, all these LLM has got a predefined token limit of 1 million token per chat. You cannot exceed more than 1 million token in a single chat, right? So that token limitation is there. Let's say if you want to address all these problems, what is the solution? Whether we need to take a break?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Whether we need to take a break?
Yes, sir. 15 minutes. Yes.
15 minutes break. No problem. No problem. No problem. So what we'll do, we'll break for approximately 15 minutes. Okay. So it is 16:40 right now.
Yes, yes. By
So at what
Four.
time?
for 55, sir.
4:55. All right. All right.
Yes,
No
thank you.
problem. No problem. So see you at 4:55 then. Thank you very much. I don't know what's the strategy, whether you leave the or whether you will stay connected. I don't know. Anyway, but I will be connected. Okay, I'll be back 4:55. Okay, as informed by somebody. I don't know. Speaking. The faculty, welcome back. Hello. Dear faculty members, welcome back to this session. I hope I am audible, loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we will start where we have left. So we are talking about probably the the problems associated with this. That is, again, Gen AI is not the end of the story. Okay, Gen AI is not the end of the story. There are many things which are these are the issues. Okay, now to address all these issues, what we need to do is that doesn't mean that this is the end of the problem, but we are facing another set of problems. Okay, now to address all these problems, we have a solution. What they call it as RAG. है ना? तो रैग हम एक थोड़ा सा 5 मिनट में देख लेंगे. What is RAG? Basically, RAG is wherein you train the existing model. Okay, rather fine tune the existing model with your own data. Okay, maybe your organizational data or your personal data. Okay, so as to address all these issues. What is the objective? Objective is to address all these issues which were associated with large language model. Okay, that is the broader outline of the structure of RAG. And what RAG is all about, that we will see. As I've told you, that is, you need to train it with your own organizational data. Okay, so whenever you want to train it with your own data, okay, then definitely the data will be, once again, it will be a voluminous data with regard to your organization, maybe past 10 years data, past 20 years data, and so on. So definitely we cannot feed the entire data in a single go to the tool for the training purpose. So we have to carry out certain, you can say, the pre-processing kind of activities. Okay, so in the context of RAG, it is called as chunking. है ना? So instead of giving पूरे आपने 5000 पेजेस का डेटा एक साथ उसको देने की बजाय आप क्या करोगे, उसे चंक्स में दोगे, स्मॉल चंक्स में दोगे, एंड दैट चंक्स आर बेसिकली डिटरमाइंड फ्रॉम दी टोकन कैपेसिटी. तो 500 टोकन का चंक लिया आपने, बट दैट इज अगेन नॉट इनफ, है ना? एक 500 का टोकन का चंक, दूसरा 500 का चंक्स, एंड सो ऑन. So many times we need to go for what they call it as the chunk overlapping, है ना? और ये 50 टोकन का हम usually, whatever is the size of the token, 10% of that, let's say if you presume 50 tokens, okay, so you may take that chunk overlapping size as 50 tokens. तो हम क्या करेंगे, 500 दिया, बाद में 450 से फिर से 500 वाला भी देंगे. मतलब the next chunk will start, instead of starting from 500, it will start from 450, and it will go from that point to 500. Okay, so 450 plus 500, maybe 950, something like that. Okay, so this, why this is needed? To keep the connectivity, so as to understand what exactly the how these 500 tokens are connected with each other. Okay, that is the only objective. So chunking is there, then chunk overlapping is there. Then we, as usual, we need to convert those words or tokens into vectors or numbers, numerical vectors. So embedding is there. Then we create a vector database. Okay, and we apply. Now here onwards, little bit more technical, but again we will avoid it. Okay, so either you can compute the similarity search, or what they call it as the Euclidean distance, or a cosine search. Okay, So that is these are the 5-6 steps, okay, in which the RAG basically functions, right? So this is the typical structure, okay. So this is the input query given by the user. So it goes to the retriever, and what we are doing in the retriever, we are adding up our own organizational data. Okay, so the knowledge base is now enhanced, and that's why there is a bidirectional flow. Okay, so it will take into account this existing knowledge base, which has been used for the pre-training purposes, plus it will use the add-on knowledge, whatever you are providing as an additional knowledge, okay, to support the existing knowledge. Okay, so knowledge base, and then it goes to the retriever, and then the responses are again given back to the user. Okay, so this is called as the retrieval generation group. So what we are doing, we are adding up our own personal knowledge. Now, what is the advantage of this RAG kind of a structure? There are numerous advantages. There are numerous advantages. Okay, the advantages are listed down here, like say enhanced factual accuracy, reduced retraining needs, multi-domain retrieval, improved response consistency, secure use of proprietary data. यानी आपका ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल जो डेटा है वो अगर आप क्लाउड वाला टूल यूज करते हो तो उस पर अगर आप आपका पर्सनल डेटा अपलोड करते हो तो इट इज वल्नरेबल इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्राइवेसी एंड सिक्योरिटी. Okay, so you can avoid that. And what you are doing, you are downloading the tool, retraining it with your own tool, with your own data, and then adapting it for your organizational usage. So definitely this RAG structure has got that feature. So secure use of proprietary data, your own organizational data or personal data. Okay, so all those issues which were associated with large language model, they are basically addressed by this RAG structure. Then it is modular and flexible system design. Okay, let's say after 6 months, again, you want to retrain it. What you can do, you can add up that knowledge base. Okay, and retrain it. Okay, maybe from July to again December, and so on. Okay, so there are numerous advantages of this RAG. Okay, and then there are some key features. Okay, the very first one is you can say look up before speaking, then factual foundation, domain accuracy. Then you may say real world deployment, modular and scalable, highly flexible, and so on and so forth. It reduce hallucination risk, okay, by grounding. Now, by adding up your own data, what exactly you are doing, you are achieving that grounding. Okay, that I will show you in the Google AI Studio. Okay, how you can ground it. So you may ground it in case of Google with some Google search or Google Maps. So that is possible, so that it will not give you inappropriate responses. Then transparency and explainability. Okay, so that is again achieved. We had already discussed about the black box problem with this LLM or Gen AI tool, and it is having future proof, you can say, architecture. Okay, wherein the data retrieval and generation have been, you can say, decoupled with each other. So which makes it a bit easier for us to maintain it and reuse it for some other purposes. Okay, so you can build your own large language model using this RAG philosophy, right? So this is the overall scenario. This is the overall scenario, the factual AI standard. Okay, you have a vector knowledge base which has been produced, and then the real-time data, and then the query is being processed, and then you get the output and so on. Now, whether we should use it for research, okay, whether we should use all these AI tools for research, the answer is a big no. Okay, now when I'm saying the answer is a big no, up to what extent you can use it? You can use it definitely for certain routine tasks. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to refer to the guidelines provided by different publishing houses in that regard, and accordingly you may comply with all those guidelines. Say for example, I am from engineering background, so we have IEEE mandates, wherein IEEE allows the usage of these tools only for editing and grammar enhancement, not for anything else. Okay, so one should not use it for any other purpose other than whatever has been specified in the guidelines. Okay, if you are submitting it to Springer Nature, so all these popular, or you can say the big publishing houses, they have got their own treatment to this AI generated stuff. Okay, So you need to adhere to those guidelines. Okay, don't use it otherwise, and don't use it for particularly for idea generation. Okay, that is complete paper. Don't try to generate. Okay, you will be in trouble. Okay, don't do that. Then how to use it for education? Definitely there are use cases that I will show you in the demonstration. Okay, then for assessment again you may use it. You may generate quizzes. You may generate you can say the flashcard. So for assessment again one can adopt to these tools. There is nothing wrong in that. Teaching learning again obviously there is nothing wrong. Okay, you may use it for PowerPoint generation. You may use it for you can say various activities. Maybe preparing a lesson plan and so on and so forth. Right. So research quality can be improved, but again you need to define your own boundaries. Right. Now this is an indicative list, है ना? तो ये एक जनरल लिस्ट है. इसमें से हम बहुत सारे टूल्स पे डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन देखेंगे. Say for example, Elicit, Consensus, okay, Google Bard, maybe Skyspace, Chat PDF and Chat GPT is now most common, so we'll skip those things. But we will definitely have some hands-on on some other tools. We will also touch upon what they call it as the usage, for example, for creating an AI agent for your activity, right? So we can do it for that purpose. Okay. So this is all as far as the first session is concerned. Right. This is all as far as the first session is concerned. Okay. Now, if you have any specific query, you can fire. So I'm sorry. I hope we are connected and you people are with me. Now there are two possibilities. I will not explicitly come out with exactly what is it. So hello, dear participant.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now I'll go ahead with the demonstration, but if you have any specific query by that time, you can fire it now.
No, sir.
चलिए, ठीक है. All right. So let us move ahead with the
Sir, sorry
demonstration.
for the interruption.
Yes,
In
sir.
between, you have talked about anti-gravity. So what that tool is used for, sir? Because that's sort of a new to us.
Yeah, it can be used for building application without writing a single line of a code.
Okay.
So I will show you how exactly it works.
Yes, sir.
But
Thank you, sir.
but all these tools they require little bit. They are all resource hungry tools, right? They are all resource hungry tools. So you have to have minimum Core i7 processor 10 generation with minimum 8 or 16 GB of RAM and sufficient amount of hard disk. And then because you need to download it and then you can play with that particular tool, right? So anti-gravity definitely I will show you, but we will start with a very basic tool, okay, which will be helpful for all of you. Okay, I don't know whether you are using it, but let me begin with a very basic tool. I hope my entire screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the very basic tool, as I have told you, is the Notebook LM, right? So for using Notebook LM, you don't require anything other than your Gmail account. Okay, I'll be going little fast because my objective is to demonstrate you as many tools as possible, right? So we are starting with a very basic tool called Notebook LM. Okay, what you need to do, simply log in with your Gmail account. Okay, go to this Google Apps or 9 dots. Okay, click on that. Somewhere at the bottom you will find Notebook LM. So click on Notebook LM. Now this can be used for teaching, learning, evaluation, and as well as research, right? As well as research. All right. So when you click on that notebook LM, you will find something like this on the screen. Let's say your objective is to create a new notebook. So simply click on this create new. Okay. Okay, create new, and something like this will appear on your screen. Now you need to specify the sources from where you want to create the notebook. Okay, from where you want to create the notebook. So you may upload files. Okay, you may upload files. Let's say if you have downloaded few research paper, okay, which you want to use for the creation of notebook. So simply click on this upload file, or you may extract some data from some websites. Okay, for that this particular option is there. Then drive is there. Let's say if something is lying there on your Google Drive, so you can fetch those documents by clicking on this drive. Or let's say if something you have copied on this thing and you want to paste it as it is, okay, this copied text is for that particular, right? Or you may drag and drop files here. Okay, you may drag and drop files here. Now what kind of file you can drag and drop? PDF, images, doc, audio, anything, okay, and more. Okay, let's say I'm not interested in right now going ahead with this. Rather, we will search on the web. So just tell me any topic. Let's say AI in innovative teaching, learning, let's say strategies. Okay, this is the topic I want to explore. Okay, again, you can go ahead with this fast search or maybe this deep search. Okay, it all depends. If you go for a deep search, it will take more time. So right now we'll pick up this fast search option and hit on this blue arrow key. Okay, it will extract some documents, okay, from the various online sources. Okay, various online sources, and those documents will appear here. Now many times it will take more time. Okay, it all depends what kind of traffic condition is there at that, because it is happening at the Google Cloud. Okay, it will happen, it will be, you are basically interacting with the Google Cloud. Now by the time I'll show you few things here. Yeah, things are appearing. So in a single go, what it will do, it will extract around 10 odd papers or 10 odd documents. Okay, let's say if you want to see what all those documents are, you click on this view, and then you can go through one after another. Okay, what is there now? What is important here is these sources are important, right? So you must be very cautious while picking up all these sources. Now let's say you are satisfied. Okay, so this way you can add up as many as 50 odd sources. Okay, 10, 10, and you can go on adding up to 50. Maximum 50 limit is there. Now let us assume that we are satisfied with all these sources. Okay, so we want to import this. So simply click on this import. Okay, so all those sources will be imported. Okay. Now, what is happening is all these sources are being imported, and then you can say notebook will be created out of it. Okay. Now, the central panel will show you the chat functionality. So this is where you can interact with all those 10 sources by writing some chat here. Okay. Okay. But while picking up all these sources, okay, uh, one has to be very careful about. That is, it will pick up sources which are only in open source kind of an environment. Okay, it will not pick up sources which wherein you require some login ID and password. Okay, certain credentials are needed, so it will not extract those sources. Okay, say for example some IEEE papers or Springer Nature paper. Okay, wherein you require some login ID and password, it will not capture those sources. Okay, it will show you. Right now what has happened in our case, fortunately all the sources are in public domain. Now this is you can say the interaction which you may carry out. Okay, like say now it has created some you can say predefined chat as well. Okay, obvious question you may say, or FAQ sort of a thing. Now I'm interacting with this, or I may put my own here, right? I may put. So how can AI act as a co-teacher in the classroom? Okay. Now this is all about the chat. On the right hand side, you have got very many things here. Okay, you may create a audio. Okay, that too a conversational audio. Okay, that too in many Indian languages. Okay, it has got right now support for these many Indian languages. Probably 8 to 10 Indian languages are there. Okay, so let's say I want to create a conversational audio in Hindi. What I need to do is simply click on Hindi and then go for this audio creation. So it will create a conversational audio wherein one person will be asking the question, the another fellow will be responding to those queries, and it will be based on all these 10 sources. Okay. So now you may ask, sir, what is the use of that conversational audio, right? You may share this audio with your student community. Okay, they can use that particular audio for learning purpose, right? That too in their own native language. Then on the similar line, you may create a video. Okay, so video overview is again possible. Okay, this video can be created again, an explainer video. Okay, but video creation is in English only, or this is the add-on, that is the try new short video overviews. Okay, so you may create this like say explainer. Okay, and then simply click on this generate. Okay, so flipped classroom AI. Okay, these many templates are there. Okay, what should the video focus on? Whether you want to make it in this particular way, or you can customize it as per your own need. That is again possible. Okay, so let's say I'm picking up this explainer. Okay, under explainer I have these many options. Okay, and then let's say auto select. Okay, and let's say generate. So that video will be generated. Okay, that video will be generated. Okay, similarly, you can create a mind map. Okay, you can create a quiz quite easily. Okay, quiz again, how many difficulty level, everything can be set here. Okay, and then maybe fewer, standard, more, easy, medium, hard, how many sources, 10 sources, or you can even exclude any particular source which you do not feel while creating the you can say the quiz, and then simply say generate. Okay, so quiz will be created. Then infographic, let's say you want to create an infographic based on the 10 sources. Okay, one infographic, one page infographic, poster kind of a thing which you want to use it for advertising purposes of your session or class. Okay, you may do so. Then let's say this mind map is ready. Okay, so this mind map again, let's say once it has been generated, okay, mind map is helpful in teaching learning. Okay, so you may share it with your student community directly by clicking on this share button. Okay, so it is damn easy to use it. Okay, then quiz has been created. Let's see what's there in the quiz. Okay, so it has created around 10 sources. Based on the 10 sources, this is the quiz. 10 question probably, one each on one particular source and so on. So again, this can be shared directly with your student community, right? Then mind map, I think I have already shown you. Quiz, we have already demonstrated. Then apart from this, you have flashcard. Okay. Then let's say you want to create a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, based on these 10 sources. So that is again possible. Okay, with this slide deck. So click on this slide deck. Okay, whether you want to have a detailed deck or a presenter slides or whatever it is, right? You need to, or you can describe certain additional add-on things which you want to have in your presentation. So that is possible. Simply type all those things, describe the slide deck you want to create. Okay, in English. Okay, there is no computing background or any other language support you require. You write in your own words. It will do for you, right? So then simply say generate. Now it will generate a slide deck. Okay, Okay, now this flashcard is ready. Okay, flashcard exercise is ready. Okay. So as you can see here. All right. So let's move ahead with it is working on this. Now this is again infographic is ready for you. The infographic is ready for you. Okay, look at the quality. Again, it is based on 10 sources. So the AI enhanced classroom from tools to co-teacher. Okay, it will give the appropriate title, then everything will be properly populated, okay, with fantastic graphic, right? Fantastic graphics, as you can see here, right? This is how it works. Right? It is explainer video, it is still working, and slide deck, it is still working. So this is a very fundamental tool, and you may embed the stuff of this, you can say, notebook LM in your Google Classroom as well, okay? Because this is a product of Google only. And as on date, it is completely free. Okay, you don't require anything other than your Gmail account for accessing this tool. Then I hope we are connected and you are able to see my screen. Somebody has to say yes or no. How many participants are there? Let me check. 20. Okay. All right. Okay. Your thumbs up shows that you are there in the meeting. All right. No issue. Let's move ahead with a few other tools. Okay. Let's try to explore few things on the research front. Okay. Now let us try something on Google AI Studio. Again, for using Google AI Studio, Google has got its own AI Studio. Okay, what you need to do is you need to sign in using your Gmail account. Simply say aistudio.google.com. Okay, and then it will take you to something like this. Okay. Okay, now Google AI Studio, there are hundreds of models available here, right? So you have a playground. Okay. Okay. And then this is what I was referring to. So this temperature right now, it has been set to 1.0. Okay. You may increase it or you may decrease it. Okay. Then what about the aspect ratio? It is auto resolution. Thinking level again can be set minimal or high. Okay. So all those parameters which we have talked about, okay, they are easily available here. Right. Now let's say I want to, let me go to my dashboard. Okay, because from that point onwards, it will be a bit easier for us to explain the things. Now I'm going to my dashboard. This is my dashboard. Okay. Now, for using many of these tools, you may require this API keys. Now, let me talk few aspects with regard to this API key. What is API key? It is basically, it is very similar to, I'll give you a simple analogy which will clear the concept. Okay, let's say you are visiting a restaurant. Okay, so is it possible to place the order directly with the owner of the or the person sitting on the counter? Okay, many times they don't allow, right? That is not expected. Ideally, what is expected is that is you should occupy some table. Okay, some waiter will visit you along with the menu card, and then you are supposed to place the order, and then it goes to the kitchen, and then the person will serve you something like that. So API key is very similar to the functionality of a waiter, right? Who is serving you in a restaurant kind of environment, right? Restaurant kind of environment. So API key is essentially needed uh, for using certain models. Okay, so you need to generate API key. Okay, you need to generate API key. Simply go to this API key. Okay, and get API key. Okay, then simply say create API key. Okay, click on this create API key. All right, create API key. You need to specify the name of the key and some project name as well, and then simply click on create key. So what will happen when you hit the create key? One API key will be generated like this. Okay, so you need to copy and paste. Okay, you need to copy and paste. So this copy API key and paste it while using that particular model. Okay, then and then you will be able to get the appropriate responses, right? So this is my dashboard. Okay. Now again, you can deal with any. Let's say you want to generate some images. Okay, so Nano Banana is the model which one can use it quite easily for that purpose. Okay, so here you may type what exactly you want. Okay, so let's say okay, so I have asked it to create a image of a cat playing football on moon. So what has happened? It has created for me, right? And the model which I have used was the Nano Banana, okay, which is typically best for this particular activity, right? So this is Google AI Studio. Okay, later on you can uh, use it. There are some few advanced settings as well. Okay, wherein you can set this top P which I was referring to. Okay, if you just recall our discussion, okay, this top P again can be set appropriately. Okay, so this is how it basically works, right? This is a small deliberation on Google AI Studio. Now, somewhere I think I have talked about anti-gravity. Okay, now anti-gravity you need to download on your desktop. So simply Google anti-gravity free download. Anti-gravity free download for Windows. Okay, so the very first link you will find anti-gravity. Okay, you need to download it for, let's say, if you are using Windows, if you are using Linux again and Mac, another hyperlink is there. Okay, so you need to download it. Okay, minimum you have to have x64. This is the the version supported, Windows version supported a 64-bit. Okay, and the minimum requirements it will show you, that is what is needed. Okay, so you can download it. Once you download it, you need to install it. So installation is pretty simple. That is, double click on that, okay, and install it on your machine. Since I have installed it on my machine, I will show you the demonstration. Okay, because it is not possible. Otherwise, it will take minimum 10 to 15 minutes to work with this. Right. Now let us move to the anti-gravity. Right. So there it is. Now this is my anti-gravity. All these tools are very resource hungry. Okay, it is still loading anti-gravity. All right. Now this is my anti-gravity framework. Let's say this, if you click on this drop down, okay, you can pick a particular model. Okay. Now these many models are available. Okay, but free user will definitely have some limited functionality. So free user and Google AI Plus users receive the minimum base limits on anti-gravity. Otherwise, you need to upgrade to your plan. Okay, so let's say we want to use Gemini 3.1 Pro low. Okay, so pick up that particular thing. Okay, and then simply type a prompt. Okay, let me check whether my let's say I want to create first of all a project, a folder on my desktop. Okay, so I'm saying creating a Gen AI project desktop folder. Okay, this is how it is, right? It will create a folder, and within that folder, let's say I want to create an application. So create an application for, let's say, for lesson plan, and create an application for lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation, etc. Right. So what it will do, it will create it on my desktop folder. Let us check whether this is ready. Folder is ready, and you need to use some keywords. Maybe you may say the production ready and so on, right? So name of the folder which we have given was probably, yes, Gen AI project. So what has happened? See the faculty suite. This is the application. Now this is the index. Okay. Right. So quiz creator, flashcard, question paper, student activities. So this application is ready for use, right? And so by simply writing a command or a prompt in this anti-gravity, you can build application. Now look at the functionality it is providing. Okay, middle school 6 to 8. Okay, high school, and then maybe college, and then it has got some Mendelian, then contact intro, French Revolution, some topics again it is giving you. Okay, flashcard again, you have this thing quiz. So build a typical, you can say how many questions you want to have, maybe 5 or 10 question, what kind of level you want to have, advanced, AP or beginner, and so on. It will create a quiz for you. So this is anti-gravity. Now we'll move to certain things on research, right? On research, let us try one thing, what they call it as the illicit. Okay, let's say you want to analyze, synthesize research paper. you want to analyze, synthesize research paper. Okay. So there is a tool called Elicit. Again, using this tool is not at all very cumbersome. Okay. Simply go to elicit.com. If you are a first time user, sign in with your Gmail credential. Okay. Sign in with your Gmail credential. Once you are done with that, okay. Once you are done with that, okay, this is your, you can say, where you can specify the topic and so on. Let's say AI in you can give any topic. I'll show you how it can be used for analyzing and synthesizing research paper. So AI in transformative research. Any damn thing you can give. Okay. NEP 2020. Okay. This is the topic I am giving just for the sake of now again thinking level maybe high, low, medium. You can set it. Okay. Now what has happened? It will identify around 10 odd papers. Okay, 10 odd papers. Paper will appear in the first column along with the summary by default. So paper along with the author's name, everything will appear here. Okay, everything will appear here, right? And then the summary will appear here, right? Summary will appear here, right? Then let's say I want to identify the research gap in all these 10 papers. So this way you can add few more. Okay, there's no, that is 10 is the limit. Okay, I'm showing the free demo version. So you may say load more paper, it will go on adding. Maybe probably 50, maybe the limit. Okay, but you can try more paper as well. Okay, let's say you are satisfied with all these papers and you want to analyze, synthesize these papers in terms of the research gap. Okay, so you want to identify the research gaps. So simply click on this plus sign. Okay, edit column, say add new. Okay, and here you are supposed to type what exactly you want. Let's say I want research gaps. Okay, while crafting research gaps, if you want to pass on some specific instruction, okay, you may write those instruction in simple English-like statement here in the instruction box. Okay, right now I am keeping it blank, but again, if you have any specific requirement, you may do so by putting those things in the instruction box. Then we have any specified yes, no, maybe, and so on. Okay, again, what kind of answer structure you want. So you may pick any appropriate one, whatever you feel appropriate. Right now, I'm going for this any. Okay, and simply say add a column. So what will happen? One additional new column will be added called research gaps, and it will extract research gaps from all the 10 papers. Okay, one after another. Okay, one after another. Right. So this is right now I'm using free version of Elicit. Okay, it is not the paid version. It is the free version. So it has got certain limitation. What are all those limitations? The limitation are in terms of number of column. That is, it's not possible to exceed more than 4 column in a single go. Okay. But we are all Indians, you know, so we find solutions to every problem. So what you can do, let's say once you are done with this research gap, you may delete it. Okay. Summary, let's say if you are through, delete it and go on adding 4 new columns. Okay. All right. So this Elicit is excellent for, you can say, performing, you can say, or analyzing or synthesizing research paper. Okay. Now it is giving me certain suggestion as well. These are the suggested column: AI application and features, barriers and challenges, recommendation and enablers, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this is illicit. Now let's say if you have any specific query with regard to illicit, okay, you please fire it now. कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे आप लोग? मैं समझ सकता हूँ थोड़ा सा हम फास्ट जा रहे हैं, लेकिन ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि आपको ज्यादा से ज्यादा टूल्स का एक्सपोजर दिया जाए. देयर इज नो अदर रीजन. ठीक है, यही रीजन से हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. ठीक है, अब चलिए कुछ और टूल्स देखते हैं. शायद आप यूज भी करते हो. अब कुछ एजेंटिक फ्रंट पे हम बात करेंगे. लेट्स से आई वांट टू क्रिएट एजेंट, माय ओन एजेंट. ओके, I want to create my own agent. Okay, so there is a you can say framework available or a application called Zapier. Okay, so simply click on Zapier agents.zapier.com. Okay, sign in if you are a first time user with your Gmail credential. Okay, I know I'm going little fast. But repeatedly I am telling you that my objective is to show you as many tools as possible within the stipulated time. Don't worry, I will not cross 6 o'clock. Okay, 6 o'clock dot we will stop. Okay, I'll not go beyond 6. Okay, in any case. Anyway, so this is Zapier. Okay, Zapier.com, and right now I have logged in as Mohd Atique. Okay, my Gmail account. Now let's say I want to create an account, create a new agent. So simply click on this new agent. Okay. So if you are a first time user, okay, it's better to use some built-in template. Okay. So this platform basically provides you certain built-in template. What is an agent? Agent is basically, it is typically used for, you may say, is very in simple words, कि आपका कोई रूटीन टास्क है. आपको सपोज मैं एक MMTC सेंटर चलाता हूँ, तो यहाँ पे कुछ पार्टिसिपेंट्स की क्यूरीज है, तो उसको आंसर करने के लिए मैं पर्सनली बैठता हूँ, तो इट रिक्वायर्स लॉट ऑफ टाइम एंड एनर्जी. So instead I may automate that job. So I may create an agent, है ना, asking it to go through my Gmail, okay, fetch all those mails, okay, which are participants' queries, and respond to all those queries. You know? So definitely I need to give some knowledge base with regard to my activity. Let's say in case of MMTC, my academic calendar for 26-27, okay, along with some UGC guideline. So all those data I need to give as a knowledge base. Okay, right now I'm picking up a support email agent. Okay, so for this functionality, I am creating a support email agent. Okay, moment I click on that template, okay, on the right hand side, you will find the template. Okay, wherein the functionality, entire functionality has been explained here. Okay, now you may modify this. Okay, this is editable. You can change it as per your own need. So when I get a new mail, look at the contents and determine if it is a question from a customer. Okay, in my case, it may be. So this is predefined template for some commercial activity. So if it is for customer, okay. So if it's a customer's question, look up the answer and then use whatever, as I said, that is whatever database we are going to add, and then respond to the queries. Okay, automatically craft answer for all those customer email. Okay, whatever queries they are having and so on. So right now I'm using this template. Okay, I need to give access to my account as well. Okay, so this is for the sake of example, my account. Okay, and I'm simply hitting this create button. Okay, I'm hitting this create button. All right. So once you hit that create button, okay, something like this will appear, wherein you can add up tools as per your own need. So you simply click on add tools. So you may add maybe Gmail or the Google Calendar, Google Sheets. These many tools are available. Okay, maybe Zapier table. Okay, maybe some Excel data. Okay, as I was referring to. Okay, so these many tools can be added. It is all need based. Okay. Then as I was referring to the knowledge source, okay, definitely I need to provide some knowledge source. So click on this knowledge source. You may add up your PDF file, okay, or the text file or the Excel file indicating your academic calendar or the program calendar, okay. So directly you can upload all those files here, okay, by clicking on this upload file button and then moving ahead. Now, once you are done with this, you have added the knowledge source, you have added the tool, okay. Simply go to this agent preview, okay. So this preview will appear and then simply click on this agent, test agent, okay. Simply click on this test agent, okay. What will happen? It will test that particular agent, okay. Now it will scan my mailbox, okay. So it is testing support email agent, okay, and it will act upon whatever has been specified here in English like statement. Now you can very well see that this is a zero code tool or no code tool. I am not writing a single line of a code in any programming language, and still I am able to create agents, okay, and how easy it is, है ना. जैसे कि आप देख पा रहे हैं, मेरे ख्याल से इसमें कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है, ठीक है. It may consume more time because it is scanning my mailbox, okay, going through all the emails and then crafting the, you can say, the responses as indicated. Okay. Now what has happened? The email is from some mail it has identified, but it will analyze it. Okay, it will not directly craft that. See, the email is from John. Okay, with the subject, I have 200 papers. Now what? The body is a promotional educational email about organizing research libraries using the Moara.io tool. Okay, so it is a marketing email. Okay, customer instead of customer. Now it is confused. Okay, what has happened? It has analyzed the content of that particular mail. Only one mail it has found with regard to the functionality which we have described here. So this is not a customer question. Okay, what is the conclusion? It is not a customer question. Okay, so this is a promotional or marketing email. See, it is analyzing email. Okay, to Professor Muhammad Atique, it's educational content about their service, not a question requiring an answer from a knowledge base. Since the email does not contain a customer question, no draft reply is needed. Okay. Otherwise, what it will do, it will create a draft reply and it will automatically send that reply to the, depending upon the functionality, whatever we have described here. Okay, in this agent, okay, instruction to follow, it will obey all those instructions. Okay. So I hope this is really fantastic. That is, now you don't claim that you don't know computers, so how to use, or rather you don't have any background of computer engineering, computer science. Okay, so these are all no code or you can say zero code tool, okay, wherein you can directly interact, okay, by simply clicking the mouse. Okay, so this is Zapier. Okay, now if you have any specific query with regard to this, you are requested to fire here itself. Okay, or otherwise we'll move to the next tool. I know I am going with a jet speed when it comes to demonstration, but it would be better, let's say, if you have any query, you fire there itself so that we can, because it's now a bit difficult at the end. If you ask something, it will be a bit difficult for me to toggle. It will take a little bit more time. Okay, that's why I'm asking again and again. That is, if you have any specific query with regard to a specific tool, please fire there itself. Right. Let us move to few more tools. Okay. The tools are like answer this. Okay, this is again very fantastic for scientific AI workflows for all tasks. It is, as a matter of fact, it is a bundle of tool. Okay, but the beta version is free with some limited functionality. Okay, you need to sign up using your Gmail or any other account. Okay. I'm signing in. Now you can see here. Okay, what you can do with this tool. You can find paper, literature review, systematic review, data analysis, search gaps, paper chats, and whatnot. Okay, again, you go to this profile, okay, wherein you have, you can say the usage limit, everything is there, and look at this. That is, let's say, what kind of, you can say the citation style you want to follow, whether FBA or MLA or Chicago or Harvard. Okay, so all those options are available here. There are many advanced engineering materials. Okay, so you may search, navigate, find papers. Then AI writer is there. Okay, AI writer is there, which will help you in rewriting some of this stuff. What we call it as paraphrasing. Okay, that is again bit easy using this particular tool. All right, so this you may try this, answer this on your own. Showing you some of the responses of my earlier session. So you may, yeah. It is showing me all those papers, emotional intelligence and all. Okay, this is for Q1, and then you may add steps. Okay. To answer this is basically a bundle of tool. Okay, it is a bundle of tool. It is not one single tool. Okay. You have systematic review. Okay. But some of the features are available on Pro only. Okay, that's why it is asking you to go for a paid version of this. Okay, but few of the features are available free of cost. Okay, which you can quite easily experiment with this. Right. This is all about, you can say, the answer this, and then you may go ahead with what they call it as the Moara. Okay. Another tool is the Moara. All right, this is Moara, can be used for, again, research activities. Okay. So, these are all my earlier interaction with this tool. Okay. Why I'm showing so, because it will require a lot of time. Okay. Let's look at this particular paper. Everything about that paper will appear here. Okay. And then you may chat it. You can do very many things here. Okay. You can even create an agent or chat, and there are very many possibilities. Okay, right now we have created an agent in this case. Okay, but again, certain features are for Pro only. Okay, so many times all these tools, they ask you some basic features you can very well deal with quite easily, but certain features which are pro, wherein you need to go for a paid subscription of these tools. And the reason which we have already seen, that is the training cost of all these tools is tremendous. Okay. One last, probably, or we are left with how many minutes? I don't know. Yes. Okay. We do not have sufficient time, but this is what you need to know. Let's say whenever you interact with these tools, it is vulnerable in terms of privacy and security. Okay. So if you want to protect yourself, let's say most of these tools, they ask you to upload your paper or documents. Okay. And when you do so, definitely you are making compromises. That is, there is always possibility of, you can say, breach of your privacy and secrecy. Okay. Because whatever prompt you type and whatever response it will generate, any of these tools, okay, it is vulnerable in terms of privacy and security. So if you want to safeguard yourself, or the another actually objective of this Olama is basically to create your own LLM, okay, which we have talked about. That is the rack kind of a LLM, right? So this Olama is basically very fantastic. Okay, it is you may call it as a framework, okay, which you can download on your mobile, right? Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, on your desktop, and later on you can populate it with your various models. Okay, so right now I'm showing you the link. Okay, this is the, let's say if you are using it, you want to use it for Windows. Okay, if you want to use it for Windows, what you need to do is you need to download this. Okay, download this. Once you have downloaded this Olama, one executable file will be downloaded. Install it. After the installation, you need to populate it with various models. So basically, it is an open source. It is completely free. Okay, and it has got hundreds of models available in the open source environment. Open source meaning thereby free and open source. They are built on free and open source philosophy. So nobody is the owner, right? Nobody is the owner. So that later on you may populate it with various, you can say, the models as I have shown you right now. Okay. So I have already installed it, but once again, this is very resource hungry. Okay. You have to have minimum core i7 with 8 GB or 16 GB of RAM and sufficient amount of hard disk. Okay. I'll show you the demonstration directly. I have installed it on my machine. Let me show you the demonstration. Okay. After the installation, it will be, the application will be, you can say, we close this other application. As I have told you, it is very resource hungry. Olama. Okay, now I will run it. Now, once you have downloaded Olama and you have populated it with various models, okay, you don't even require internet connectivity to play with these tools. Okay, and that's why I'm saying that there is no threat to your privacy or secrecy. Okay, I'm dot. We are at 16:00. I'll take 2 to 3 minutes, not more than that. Okay. Now this is how it is. Okay, this is how it is. Okay. So this is the framework. Now the model is being loaded. Okay, I have downloaded only one model due to the space constraint on my desktop. Okay, and the name of the model is Llama 3.2. So that is being populated here. Okay, it will take a little bit more time. right? So as you can see here, this is the Llama 3.2 which I have installed, and this structured LLM actually, this is the LLM which I have created on my own. Okay, right now I'm interacting with this Llama 3.2. Okay, so here onwards, I don't require any internet connectivity. Okay, even if you are disconnected, okay, if you are connected, definitely you will interact with the, you can say the cloud version. But the moment you are disconnected, okay, you can be sure that there are no compromises. Now here, you can upload your paper or any confidential document, and whatever are the responses, again, it is between you and your PC. Okay, so you are completely safe. Okay. Let me show you a few, that is how to add models into this. Okay, for that, basically you need to go to the command prompt. Let me quit Olama. As I have told you, it is resource hungry. Okay, so CMD, go to this command prompt. Okay. Simply say Olama. Okay, and you will find the various options available to you. So this is what I was referring to. Let's say you want to start Olama. So simply say start Olama. If you want to create a model, what is the command? Create and then the model name. Okay. So simply say Olama create and something like that. Okay. And the name of the model you wish to create. Okay. Then run, stop. Okay. Pull is basically used for, you can say, pulling a particular model from the internet and adding it to the Olama framework. So let's say Olama, okay, pull and the name of the model. Now, name of the model you can very well get from the Olama website under model head. Okay, so you need to simply specify the name of that model. So let's say Olama pull and then Llama 3.2 or 3.1, whatever it is, right? And simply hit enter key, it will catch hold of that particular model and it will be populated into your Olama framework. So you can copy a model by CP, you can remove a model by RM, okay, and then help and everything is there. Stop running a model, okay. Pull is for extracting it from the website, Olama website, and adding it to the Olama framework, right? So this is all. At this point of time, I think I have exceeded my limit, 3 to 4 minutes, but we have taken a break. So still we are having 10 more minutes with us. So if you have any specific query, you may fire it now. Hello. Dear participant, I hope we are connected and you people are very much with me. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So, any one of you would like to ask anything? आप में से कुछ लोग कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे? चलिए. So otherwise we'll stop here. No problem. Thank you very much for the patience hearing, and let me put on record my sincere thanks to the organizer, the entire MMTC team, okay, the director, the, you can say the Mr. Rabhe and his team, and along with probably the director MMTC and the assistant director, Professor Rafe, along with his team, for giving me this opportunity to interact with such a wonderful audience. Okay, thank you very much. I'll take your leave.
Thank you very much. To visit when you are CMG University.
Yes, sir. What's your name, sir? And you are from which
Sir, I am
department?
Dr. Kakde. I sit at Institute of Management and Research.
You are from management background. Okay.
In which
Management.
institute?
MGM. It is in MGM only, na?
No. But there are almost 23 units, sir. So which college you are visiting?
Now, I will be visiting to your central campus, MGM University.
Okay,
Computer
okay,
Science
great.
Department.
So
Computer Science.
our building is just besides the university's main building. Do visit, sir. You are most welcome. And
All
as
right.
far as sessions are concerned, I suppose we needed more time to understand the applications and all.
Okay, okay. No issue, sir. No issue.
Yes, fine.
Anyway,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
So I'll
sir.
take your leave. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.